self-reliance means everything is produced in the village for the villagers. There is no question of any profit making and exporting from the village. Villagers have no share in the production. And so therefore he was not against the machinery used by large scale in the sense of national security. But that large scale industry should be in urban areas and fully controlled, under control of the state. And cottage industry and their development of agriculture, scientific techniques should be used in agriculture, farmers' farmers' fate should not be left to the monsoon. That there should be development of all things needed for the village economy and agricultural economy. He was not in favor of any such type of coercion taking land from the farmers. So these are the cases of Mahatma Gandhi, Gandhian plan. That was in fact Gandhian plan put forward before the government to consider it, and that was written by Acharya S.N. Agarwal. Basic standard of life, Mahatma Gandhi plan said that a balanced diet of 2600 calories per day is the balanced diet, and costing rupees 5 per head per month as per pre-war policy, pre-war prices in rural area. The statistics used by Mahatma Gandhi plan, basic standard of life measurement, that 2600 to 2600. This is also today yardstick of calories norm. So balanced diet of 2600 calories per day, costing rupees 5 per head per month at pre-war prices in rural areas. This is number one basic standard of life. Number two basic standard of life, 20 yards of cloth annually, costing about rupees 4 per yard. Number three, household expenses, medicine and other miscellaneous items of recurring expenditure amounting to rupees 8 per head per year. This was considered by Mahatma Gandhi plan presented at the time of independence. India is to be receiving from British Empire. The total annual expense for each individual therefore will be at least rupees 72. In Ghanaian plan, the total annual expense for each individual therefore will be at least 72 rupees. The present per capita income rural area according to plan being only rupees 18. Required 72 rupees and available is only 18 rupees. So there is a need for fourfold increase. Will be necessary to make the basic necessity and a minimum standard of comfortable available to all. For achieving this objective, Ghanaian plan recommends the development of agriculture and of cottage industry on scientific line. So 72 rupees versus 18 rupees. This was popular at that time. 72 rupees versus 18 rupees. Thus we find that Ghanaian plan presented to the nation was most important document that the basic standard of life uh, in Ghanaian plan, a balanced diet of 2,600 calories per day, costing rupees 5 per head, and that is on the basis of per month pre-war prices in rural areas. Number 2 is 20 yards of cloth annually required, costing about rupees 4 at 3 anna per yard rate. Household expenses on medicine, other miscellaneous items of recurring expenditure amounting rupees 10 per head per year. But what was the finding in the Ghanaian plan? Total annual expenses for each individual in India, therefore, will be at least rupees 72 in rural areas. And the situation at that time, that the per capita income in rural areas in India was rupee 18. So the gap was 72. Required amount is rupees 72. Available amount is rupees 18. To provide a standard life to rural people in India. Therefore, Ghanaian plan suggested that there must be fourfold increase in the production, fourfold increase in investment, so that rural life will have fulfillment of basic necessity, basic standard, civilized standard of life by raising from rupees 18 per capita income in rural areas to rupees 72 per capita income equal to per capita public expenditure. So public expenditure must be equal to public revenue or income. Income is equal to expenditure. So in Ghanaian plan it was cited the real picture of the poor people living in our 7 lakh villages, and they require the development of village, development of agriculture, self-reliance in village, job to the youth in rural areas. They have their opportunities which we can observe from the foreign countries' development of agriculture as a agriculture industry, and thereby changing the economic condition of the farmers. So now we come to the conclusion that all these different conflicting things were there, but Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in the parliament said that India is not going to nationalize any industry. The reason behind it, that all industries which are working there are having obsolete machinery, backward technology, and thereby nationalization of industry would be loss-making proposition for the government. So there will be no nationalization of industry. Secondly, there is no nationalization of land. He pointed out that the agriculture will be in the hands of farmers. Peasant individual farming will be there. But at the same time, development of cooperative farming will be promoted by the efforts taken by the government, providing the fund for cooperative development of cooperative. And cooperative movement has started in India, taking the cooperative farming, cooperative marketing, cooperative trade system, and all around cooperative will be there. So under these situations, the Bombay plan proposition were rejected, People's plan of Mr. M.N. Roy rejected, and Gandhi plan was also not acceptable. And one plan that is known as Birla plan. Birla was signatory of the Bombay plan, but on 25th May 1948, Birla announced Birla Plan for Industrial Development. This was having 5 years plan and total expenditure of 1,220 crore, which will bring in a national income of rupees 1101 crore, 1,101 crore at the end of the period, suggested by G.D. Birla. G.D. Birla said that in 3 years, total public investment of 1,950 crore or 650 crore on average per year without any special efforts. And out of 1,220 crore proposed in 5-year plan, but under Birla plan to 25th May 1948. This was declared by G.D. Birla, and at the same time, the time has come for the industrial policy, which was announced by Dr. Syama Prasad Mukherjee, Industry Minister, 6th April. You see, 6th April 1948. This was known as New Industrial Policy of New Industrial Policy in a Free India, and especially the status of Dominion of India. It was in case of Dominion of India, we all know that many political things happened, and there was divide and rule principle, breaking the National Congress, Indian National Congress and Muslim League into the rivalry of power sharing, and there was political background in this background through the interim government, which was to pass before the birth of the Dominion of India. With the attainment of Dominion status on 15th August 1947, India was on the threshold of a new era. There was a remarkable upsurge of hope and enthusiasm all over the country. Industrial policy announced by the Government of India on 6th April 1948 as a new industrial policy resolution in an independent India, in a free India, and thereby all issues regarding nationalization was cleared by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru clearly that there will be no nationalization, and he laughed that nationalizing industry means payment from the government to the private sector, and all machines are obsolete. All industry are having backward and outdated technology. There is least expenditure on innovations and technological upgradations. So no way India is not going to nationalize industry. And there will be establishment of socialistic pattern of society, and in the country 1948 industrial policy resolution implemented by the act, and 6th April 1948, new industrial policy were implemented. Some critics remarks that new industrial policy is a copycat of new industrial policy of British government in 1945, which was on paper only, which were a collection of materials in large quantity and were utilized by the power, people living in power. Therefore, we are now in a position to discuss industrial policy resolution of 1948 announced by the government of India as a first industrial policy which made India mixed economy, no nationalization, no only privatization, no only private economy, private enterprise, rather mixed economy having the cooperation of both public sector and private sector, and the mixture will be 80% public sector and 20% private sector. That we will discuss in detail in the next class. Thank you very much. Share it and like it. Comment it that whether you liked my lecture or not. Thank you very much.